Hey folks, well, we were talking about this before where severe thunderstorms can and do produce the occasional tornado. Tornado warning has been issued for south central and northwestern Sullivan counties until 6:30. And you can see, I'm trying to pick out a couple of locations on the radar, and you can see this storm is to the east of Hancock, so it's obviously south of Walton. It is going to be to the west of Roscoe, but we're watching that little storm, and I'm going to change things up a little bit. This is going to look a little odd, but we are going to change to the velocity mode here if I can, and this is going to show you exactly what we're looking at as far as the tornado risk. And this is a larger picture, we'll say, and what you can see right here is when you have the greens and the reds together. Now the red is air moving away from the radar, the green is air moving toward the radar, so you put those together and you get that circulation. Now this circulation right here is pretty large, but there are going to be, we'll say, smaller rotations. This is the mesolow, the mesocyclone, but as you move closer, as you move smaller, there may be a rotation within that mesocyclone, and that's the tornado. So we are going to be watching this over the next, we'll say, half hour, because this tornado warning is going to be in effect until 6:30 this evening. I'm going to switch back to the reflectivity mode. I'm going to put some towns on here just to give you a better idea of what's going on. And if you give me a second here, I have to adjust this because we'll get the motion on this. Looks like this storm is moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So I'm going to adjust this. We have the storm again moving eastward at around 30 miles per hour. So if I draw the cone on here, this is going to come up. We're going to get 30 miles per hour, and we're going to draw that cone on there from the center, and this should we'll take it out for the next half hour, and we should be able to get some locations as far as where that storm is headed. And again, you can see some of the locations in the path of the storm. Fish's Eddy should be upon you in the next couple of minutes. 6:13 East Branch, 6:15. We have Long Flat at 6:22. How about Cooks Falls at 6:31, and then Rockland in the Roscoe area at about 6:38. So again, a few things you can do to keep yourself safe. Head to the lowest floor in your house. If it's a basement, if it's a cellar, that's where you want to be. You do not want to be on the second floor. You don't want to be on the main floor. You do not want to be in a trailer during a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning. Seek shelter, seek that lowest floor. If you do not have a basement, if you don't have a cellar, seek the furthest interior room. Usually that's a bathroom. Also, I know in the olden days, bathtubs were made out of cast iron. You can get inside that tub. Not as sturdy today, but still, you want to stay away from windows. You want to get inside into the interior of your home. Underground is the best place to be. Again, we do have that tornado warning in place for southwestern Delaware, southern Delaware County, northwestern Sullivan County until 6:30 this evening. This is indicated by radar, so we don't have any reports as far as a tornado on the ground or anything like that. But again, this is about as good as it's going to get. And keep in mind, these storms are also producing some heavy rainfall. There's also a lot of lightning with these storms, so you do want to seek shelter immediately. You don't want to be outdoors. Minor flooding is possible. You do not want to be outside. You don't want to be in the open. You do not want to be the tallest object in an open field when these storms approach. And I mentioned before, I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to draw that cone back on here in just a second, just to give you an idea of where this storm is headed. Again, movement is to the east, and these might have a slight southerly component too, just because we do have a south wind today. That could be blowing some moisture into the southern side of the storm. So again, this storm is going to be on top of Fish's Eddy any minute now. East Branch at 6:17, Long Flat at 6:24, Burnwood at 6:25, Gregorytown at 6:28, Cooks Falls at 6:33, and Rockland, the Roscoe area, by around 6:40. So we are going to stick with this. I'm going to go back to the velocity just to see if anything else is showing up here. And Again, as far as what's going on, we have a warm, moist air. There's a little bit of spin in the air. So when these storms develop, there has been some, we'll say, slight rotation with these storms. But this is the first tornado warning of the afternoon. As I mentioned, again, the green is toward the radar. The red is away from the radar, and I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit, and you can see there's County Road 17. If I can pick out some locations on here, it doesn't look like any real. There's Rockland on the right-hand side of your screen, and again, there's Hancock on the left-hand side of your screen. But so it's a little. This is the south central part of Delaware County, and we're looking for where those greens and reds match up. So right there, again. This is moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. Again, these do have a slight southeasterly component, so you do want to seek shelter immediately. A tornado warning means that a tornado is occurring or it's imminent. That's when you want to seek shelter. Also, you can see that severe thunderstorm warning out for western Delaware County. Of course, there's the Hancock area. But again, what we're concerned with is that little butterfly-shaped feature, the reds moving away from the radar, the greens toward the radar. That thunderstorm is spinning. It's an indication that a tornado may be forming. So we want to seek shelter immediately. Again, tornado warning in place for south central Delaware County and northwestern Sullivan County until 6:30 this evening. We can go back to the reflectivity mode here and just see if we can pick anything up here as far as I'm going to point out that purple area, and just we mentioned before the lightning, the damaging winds, the strong winds. There might even be some hail with this storm. So this is kind of packing a little bit of everything. We mentioned that heavier rainfall occurring with this storm. So this storm, again, moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. Looks like that is right along Highway 17 is right through the middle part of that middle part of your screen. So I'm going to zoom in here a little bit and see if I can get anything to show up here as far as Highway 17. This is to the south of Walton. I know that showed up. Walton Downsville, you can see, is not in the warning area, but it's just to the north of the warned area. I mentioned Roscoe. Looks like Hancock is to the west of at least the tornado warning, but Hancock does have that severe thunderstorm warning. And we've been watching this through the afternoon. I'm going to pull back here just a little bit. Looks like Susquehanna County, western Susquehanna County, has been added to a severe thunderstorm warning. So this covers the northeastern corner of Bradford in through northwestern Susquehanna County. But again, we're going to zoom back in on that tornado warning. Looks like they have shaved off a little bit of this. You can see, I'm trying to get a location here along Route 17. And I know some of the locations, I know Fish's Eddy was, or Cook Falls, Fish's Eddy were mentioned there. I'm going to go back and see if I can get a little bit broader. I'm going to go with the squall line. We're going to shoot this out to 30 miles per hour, and we'll draw this on here, see if I can make this work. We'll go from right here and we'll go out along that, and we're going to go out to the half hour, and that's where they have that have the warning expiring toward Livingston Manor. But if I can move this a little bit, we should be able to see. So these are some of the locations, and they show up once again: Long Flat, Burnwood, Butternut Grove, Rockland, again the Roscoe area, Hazel, Deckertown, are all in the path of that tornadic storm. So again, seek shelter immediately. Seek the lowest level of your house, your home, your cellar, your basement. Cover your head. Make sure you have all family members accounted for. Ride the storm out. Again, this is going to be in effect for another 12 minutes here. So again, moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. I mentioned before there is a slight southerly component. So this is for south central Delaware in through northwestern Sullivan counties. Tornado warning. So haven't had any reports of a confirmed tornado. I'm going to go over here and take a quick peek and see if the National Weather Service has updated that. Again, south central Delaware County, northwestern Sullivan County. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located over East Branch or 12 miles south of Walton, moving east at 30 miles per hour. This is radar indicated rotation. Impact flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes, not a good place to be. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. The dangerous storm will be near Roscoe and Hazel around 6:30. So again, we're tracking this storm. I'm going to go back to the velocity product, and we'll see if we can get anything showing up there, any additional information. It's going to take a second for this to reload, but if we go to the storm velocity, and there it is. There it continues. You can see that the reds and greens are they're spaced closely together. I'm just going to draw a circle here on the area that we're concerned with. And again, this is right over Highway 17, and you can see Rockland. There's Roscoe. So if you're in the path of this storm, if you're near the storm, I'm going to draw a line right along the Sullivan Delaware County line. So right there, it looks like that storm is headed toward the border between Delaware and Sullivan County. So I'm going to draw that cone back on there if you give me a second. We'll take off that the drawings on there, and we're going to pull back. We're going to switch to the reflectivity mode. But again, there's some pretty broad rotation with this storm. Again, nothing confirmed as far as a tornado. We'll see if we can get any damage reports that are coming in here. But we're going to go back to reflectivity. And one thing I'm going to do, we talked about this before, not only are we talking about the threat for tornadoes, the threat for the damaging winds? But I mentioned the heavy rainfall, and I mentioned the lightning strikes, and you can see just the number of lightning strikes that are occurring with this storm. So this guy is really nothing to mess around with. And I'm going to go back to the cone, and we're going to draw that on there. We're going to go out just a little bit, and we're going to go out a half hour, again, until 6:30, and see if anything new shows up here as far as locations go. But we had Burnwood on there before, Horton on there, Tenaha Lake, Campground, Rockland, Beaver Kill, Livingston Manor. I mentioned Livingston Manor before. But again, this storm is moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So it's not necessarily clipping along, but it looks like that tornadic storm is very close to moving out of Delaware County and into Sullivan County. One thing I want to point out, I mentioned Hancock before with the severe thunderstorm warning. So even though it looks like Hancock is in the clear for now, we do have that little cell just off to our east. But we'll say just north of Hancock, there's some strong weather right there. But then we talk about that tornado warning east of Hancock, and the Rockland, that's Roscoe right there. So again, this is approaching Roscoe, and it looks like it's following. There's Highway 17 right through southern Delaware, south central Delaware County, in through Sullivan County. There's Liberty finally showing up. Now, we're going to watch this. There's the extent of that tornado warning. You can see Neversink over there. You can see Liberty. But we're going to track that as it works its way across the Delaware County line into northern Sullivan County. And as I mentioned before, as far as keeping yourself safe, places to be: lowest floor of your house. Cellar, basement, great place to be. You don't want to be outside. There's going to be flying debris. And even if there's no tornado with this, there could be flying debris. There could be some gusty winds, some damaging winds. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. You could have some power outages, flying debris. There could be some property damage as this storm moves through. So again, even some hail. There might be some hail with this. I'm going to do one thing and see if I can toss on a storm tracks here, if that's going to pop up. Might take a little, might take a second for that and there it is. You can see there's that circulation being picked up. This might be a little bit farther to the west of the actual area of location, but that is picking up that tornadic signature. And again, if I pull back just a little bit, we'll see what's going on across the area just so we don't get burnt here. But you can see there are 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, the 1 tornado warning, and you can see that severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Bradford in through northwestern Susquehanna County. Still a severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Delaware County. We're going to zoom back in on that tornado warning for south central Delaware in through northwestern Sullivan County. It's going to change this up just a little bit. We're going to go back to the
go back to the velocity image and see what's going on there, see if that's tightened up a little bit, or maybe there's a little good news. And I mentioned before, you have those greens, those reds close together, and I'm going to say, if I can get my palette to come up here, you can see right there. And again, this is just north of Fremont to the east of Hancock, west of Rockland. But even Roscoe, you are in that tornado warning until 6:30, so we got another 6 minutes to go there. Wouldn't be surprised if this holds together. And these storms have had a history of just holding together. They haven't fallen apart. And if that occurs, then I wouldn't be surprised if this tornado warning is extended into parts of northern Sullivan County. But again, moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So Roscoe, you still have time to seek shelter. I'm going to draw that cone on there once again just to see if we can, we're going to shorten that up just a little bit. Peakville, there's a new one for you. Burnwood, Horton, Cooks Falls, we mentioned Cooks Falls before. Rockland, the Roscoe area. Craigie, Clare. Not exactly sure. That must be a northern or northwestern Sullivan County. But again, we are tracking that severe thunderstorm. And as I mentioned before, there's no indication or no confirmed report of a tornado. However, it is just that signature, that that couplet, that little butterfly-looking feature that we are looking at, and that's what we're going by as far as confirming the tornado. And one other thing to look for here is that you can see that little purple spot right in the middle of your screen. This could also be producing some hail. Some large hail. So again, we're talking about windows could be knocked out. You just don't want to be outside. And I mentioned before, Highway 17 from Hancock right down to Liberty. Looks like that heavier rainfall is approaching the Roscoe area right now. So again, if you live in the path of this storm, you want to seek shelter immediately. This is going to be in effect until 6:30 this evening. And again, this is moving eastward or just a slight southerly component. So we're talking about south central Delaware. That heavier rainfall already working its way right along the Delaware-Sullivan County line, and that's going to continue pushing its way to the east. You can see Highway 206 there running through the Roscoe area. And again, mentioned before some safety concerns. One thing to seek an interior room of your house. Seek a bathroom. Seek a closet. If you don't have those features, you might want to try going under a bed. A trailer is not a good place to be. A trailer should have a safe area, or a trailer park should have a safe area where you can go. We do have this tornado warning in effect for south central Delaware County in effect for another about 4 minutes. That is set to expire. As far as weather threats, keep in mind a severe thunderstorm is producing winds of 58 miles per hour or stronger, or 1-inch hail or larger. And of course, with the tornado warning, that means a tornado is occurring or is imminent. Looks like that hail shaft may have weakened just a little bit, a little less purple showing up, but definitely some heavy rainfall, some frequent lightning occurring. We talked about that, the threat for the weather threats for this afternoon, and we're going to go back to that graphic. Heavy rainfall, damaging winds, hail is also possible, and there it is. There's that tornado risk. Again, this is the only tornado warning I've seen for this afternoon, but it only takes one to kind of to screw things up. And as far as weather going on right now, we do have the 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, one for northeastern Bradford in through northwestern Susquehanna counties. Looks like that storm might have, right over just to the north of north of Hancock, getting some heavier rainfall. But there it is, and there it looks like the National Weather Service has extended a severe thunderstorm warning. You can see that does encompass part of that tornado warning area. So I'm going to get a little locator here, if I can get a little information on that severe thunderstorm warning that they just issued for. Looks like northern Sullivan County. So just give me a second here. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 7:15. So that's going to work its way across southern Delaware into northern Sullivan County. To be a little bit more specific, south central Delaware County, northwestern Sullivan County. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 7:15. Severe thunderstorm was located near Roscoe, or 15 miles northwest of Liberty, moving east at 35 miles per hour. The threats from this storm, not only are we dealing with that tornado warning, but but we also have the potential for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So hail damage, wind damage, and a little bit more specific, we mentioned before, you do not want to be in a trailer. They're light. They blow around easily. There's a large surface area, so they can really get whipped around by the winds. As far as weather threats, we mentioned the heavy rainfall. There might be some ponding on the roadways. This is working its way right along the Highway 17 corridor. Through parts of Delaware and in through Sullivan County. So Roscoe, you're getting some heavier rainfall right now. Just to the northeast of Hancock, that cell looks a little stronger. Might be some larger hail with that storm, but we are going to, let's see if we can go back to our velocity scale. And again, this looks a little goofy, but what we're looking for are closely spaced reds and greens. It looks like that circulation might have weakened a little bit. Looks like it is working its way across the Delaware Sullivan County line. I'm going to try and highlight that, draw a circle around it. So I would say right in this area right here, just to the west of Roscoe, looks like where that packing is the tightest. And again, even if you don't get a tornado, hopefully you don't, but there could be some wind damage along with that, some gusty winds. We mentioned those 60-mile-per-hour winds. So we got the tornado warning. Looks like that has expired. I think I've eaten all of Keith's time. Keith, if you can give me a little heads up here. What do we want to do? You want me to keep going? I can keep going. You know what? Do we have nightly news coming up here, or?
We do have nightly news coming up.
You know what? I'm going to take a little break here. We'll get the maps updated, and Keith, if you want to take us out, I'll let you do it. But I'll keep you updated via social media for the remainder of the severe weather outbreak.